There is a strange, subtle feeling that many of us have been experiencing lately, a quiet but persistent sense that the world we are living in is not just chaotic or unpredictable, but that it might be unfolding according to a deeper, hidden script. A sense that what's happening around us, politically, socially, spiritually, may not be entirely new. Instead, it feels like a repetition of something ancient, something encoded in the very fabric of human consciousness and the collective history of our species. You're not imagining it. Long before our modern era of digital surveillance, global unrest, and mass psychological manipulation, there existed ancient teachings, wisdom passed down through secretive initiates, mystics, sages, and seers that foresaw much of what we see today. These teachings didn't rely on satellite images, market data, or artificial intelligence to reveal their insights. They came from a different kind of intelligence, an inner knowing, an understanding of the hidden architecture of reality itself. And what they saw was a world remarkably similar to ours, a civilization spiraling toward a moment of reckoning, a period of upheaval and transformation. But this wasn't a punishment from some vengeful deity. It was, in fact, a natural consequence of humanity's collective forgetting, the forgetting of our sacred origin, our divine essence, and our interconnectedness with all that is. Today, I invite you to explore some of these esoteric teachings, ancient truths that, with eerie precision, seem to predict our current reality. And I'll also share what these teachings say about what comes next, what the future holds once the veils are lifted and the illusions are dismantled. The fall into matter, the Gnostic prophecy. Let's start with the teachings of the Gnostics, mystics who believed that our reality is rooted in a profound spiritual truth that has been veiled from most of humanity. In their texts, they describe the universe as a realm that once existed purely as a spiritual domain, pure consciousness, divine light, and infinite awareness. But at some point, a fall occurred, a descent from pure spirit into the dense, tangible material world. According to Gnostic cosmology, reality is a kind of divine accident, a mistake or a rebellion, caused by a lesser divine being called the demiurge. This demiurge is not the ultimate source, but a blind, arrogant architect who believes himself to be God. He crafts a creation that is a distorted reflection of the divine, trapping divine sparks, our true selves, within physical bodies, illusions, and false identities. To put it in simpler terms, the Gnostics teach that our true nature is pure consciousness, but we have become entangled in a material matrix, an illusion designed to keep us forgetful, distracted, and disconnected from our divine origin. This world, they say, is a kind of prison, a manufactured reality that keeps us from recognizing our true nature. And what is this false reality? It's the world of appearances, money, power, possessions, social status, all created constructs that distract us from the sacred. Over time, humanity's awareness of its divine spark dims, and the collective consciousness becomes numb. We identify ourselves with our bodies, our possessions, our titles, our nations, all external labels that serve to divide and fragment us. The warning from the Gnostics is clear. If we forget our divine origin long enough, we begin worshipping false gods, systems, institutions, and artificial idols, rather than the divine within. We chase after illusions like fame, material wealth, and technological mastery, believing these are the ultimate sources of fulfillment. But in truth, they are hollow echo chambers, mirages that deepen our disconnect from the sacred. Today, in our modern world, we see this playing out in full force. The obsession with technology, smartphones, social media, virtual realities, has created a new kind of spiritual amnesia. We worship screens instead of souls. We seek validation online rather than inner peace. We value material success over spiritual growth. The Gnostic warning is still relevant. Unless we wake up and remember our divine nature, we risk becoming lost in the illusion, prisoners of a false reality crafted by the demiurge of our own collective consciousness. Kali Yuga, the age of darkness. Next, let's turn to the ancient wisdom of Hindu cosmology, which describes time as cyclical, an endless series of ages, or yugas. We are currently living in the last of these 4 ages, the Kali Yuga, often called the Age of Darkness, or the Iron Age. In the context of this cycle, each yuga has its own characteristics: virtue's decline, chaos, and eventual renewal. The Kali Yuga is marked by a profound decline in spiritual awareness, moral integrity, and the sacredness of life itself. During Kali Yuga, truth becomes distorted. Virtue is mocked, and vice is celebrated. The sacred is profaned. Temples are abandoned or corrupted. Spiritual teachings are commercialized or censored. The natural world is exploited without regard for balance or harmony. Leaders, whether political, religious, or corporate, often embody greed, corruption, and a loss of moral compass. In this age, knowledge is often inverted. Lies are accepted as truth, and truth is branded as dangerous or subversive. People become obsessed with pleasure, superficial status, and conflict, living for transient pleasures rather than eternal values. The ancient seers warned that in Kali Yuga, humanity would forget its divine nature. Spiritual teachings would be hidden or distorted, and many would be trapped in illusions of their own making. Yet, they also taught that within this darkness, there is a seed, a possibility for awakening, a potential for spiritual renewal that can emerge through contrast. Many spiritual traditions suggest that the chaos and suffering we see today are signs of this age reaching its climax, a necessary phase before renewal. The chaos is a wake-up call, a cosmic nudge urging us to remember who we truly are and reconnect with the sacred. If you look around, you can see how this plays out. The widespread addiction to distraction, the breakdown of social cohesion, the rise of fear and division. All these are symptoms of a civilization in spiritual amnesia. The good news is that this cycle is not eternal. It is a phase, a dark night of the soul, that can give way to a new dawn. But first, we have to face the chaos with awareness and intention. Hermetic teachings, mental manipulation, and mass illusion. Now, let's turn inward to the teachings of Hermeticism, an ancient esoteric tradition that emphasizes the principle that all is mind. According to Hermetic wisdom, reality is fundamentally shaped by consciousness. The universe itself is a projection of mental energy, a divine mind manifesting through what appears to be physical matter. But Hermetic teachings also contain a warning that in times of spiritual decline, mass consciousness can be hijacked, manipulated, and distorted by unseen forces. The law of mentalism teaches that our minds are powerful creators, but they can also be enslaved. The media, the entertainment industry, and technological systems, these are the modern magicians, casting illusions and weaving narratives designed to control perceptions. Is this not what we see today? A world where most people live in a state of distraction, conditioned to accept a manufactured version of reality. Our senses are constantly bombarded with images, messages, and ideas, many of which are carefully curated by unseen interests with agendas that serve their own power and control. The news reports, social media feeds, advertising, all work together to shape collective beliefs and subconscious patterns. We are living in a kind of mass hypnotic trance, largely unaware that our perceptions are being manipulated. Hermetic wisdom reminds us, As long as our minds are enslaved by external forces, our reality remains limited, distorted, and controlled. True freedom begins with awareness, recognizing the illusions and reclaiming the power of our own consciousness. The greatest spiritual task of our time is to awaken from this collective hypnosis, question what we're told, seek deeper truths, and cultivate inner discernment. Only then can we begin to see beyond the illusions and co-create a new reality aligned with higher truth. The Tower and the Fall, Tarot and Archetypal Collapse. Let's explore the symbolism of the Tower card from the Tarot, an archetype that captures the essence of sudden upheaval, collapse, and divine correction. In the Tarot, the Tower represents a structure built on falsehood, built on ego, illusion, and disconnect from truth. Lightning strikes the tower, causing it to crumble and exposing what lies beneath. But this destruction is not punishment, it is revelation. It is the universe's way of clearing away illusions so that something more authentic can emerge. In our modern world, we see this archetype playing out on a collective scale. Our institutions, governments, financial systems, social paradigms are increasingly revealing cracks. Corruption exposed by scandal, economic collapses, societal unrest. All these are the lightning strikes that signal the collapse of false structures. The Tower reminds us that no external edifice, no matter how grand, can withstand the truth forever. The ego-driven illusions of separation, control, and supremacy are crumbling under the weight of awakening consciousness. But the fall is not the end. It's a sacred process, a necessary step toward renewal. Once the tower falls, the sky opens up to a new possibility, the emergence of the star, symbolizing hope, clarity, and divine inspiration. The message is clear. The chaos and collapse of the old are not to be feared. They are part of the sacred alchemy of transformation. Out of the rubble, new life can arise. The prophecy of the eagle and the condor, a call for balance. Across indigenous traditions of South America, there is a profound prophecy, one that speaks of two great paths, the path of the eagle and the path of the condor. The eagle symbolizes the mind, technology, and the dominion of the industrial civilization. It soars high, relying on intellect, innovation, and conquest. The eagle represents the rational, scientific approach, cutting through the physical realm to master nature. The condor, on the other hand, embodies the heart, intuition, and spiritual connection to the earth. It soars low, grounded in the sacredness of life, the wisdom of nature, and the inner knowing that transcends logic. For centuries, the eagle has dominated, the land conquered, the planet exploited, the digital age accelerated by relentless progress. Yet, in doing so, it has lost the soul, the heart connection that sustains true harmony. The prophecy suggests that in a time of great imbalance, these two forces will come into alignment. The eagle and the condor will fly together, mind and heart reunited. Humanity will remember its sacred purpose. Many believe this time is now. The crises we face, climate change, social unrest, spiritual disconnect, are signs that the balance is being challenged. But they also signal an opportunity to integrate the rational with the intuitive, technology with spirituality, progress with reverence. This integration invites us to remember that true evolution involves not just external mastery, but inner awakening, a harmonization of head and heart. Alchemy, solve et coagula. Let's delve into the ancient art of alchemy, a symbol-rich tradition often misunderstood as merely the process of turning lead into gold. But at its core, alchemy is about spiritual transformation, a metaphor for the inner process of awakening. The alchemists spoke of two essential stages: solve et coagula, dissolution and coagulation. First, everything false, corrupt, or illusionary must dissolve. burned away in the fire of purification. This phase involves facing death, symbolic death of old identities, beliefs, and attachments. It's a period of chaos, loss, and uncertainty, but it's also necessary. From this dissolution, a new foundation is laid, a purified essence that can be recombined into something truer, more authentic. This is the coagulation stage, bringing together the purified elements to create a new, higher form of being. Today, we are living through this alchemical process collectively. The old systems, political, social, economic, are breaking down. The hidden shadow of humanity is surfacing: fear, greed, division, yet this chaos is the crucible for transformation. The sacred alchemy teaches us that through conscious awareness and intentional surrender, we can transmute suffering into wisdom. The chaos we see is not random. It is the necessary fire that will forge a new reality, one rooted in higher consciousness and divine harmony. The age of Aquarius, a new frequency. Finally, let's consider the cosmic shift heralded by the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Astrologers describe this transition as a real astronomical cycle, one that takes thousands of years to complete. Aquarius is the sign of truth, awakening, and higher consciousness. It symbolizes rebellion against control, the quest for collective evolution, and the emergence of new paradigms rooted in equality, innovation, and spiritual awakening. As the age shifts, hidden truths are being revealed. Secrets long kept in the shadows come to light. Old hierarchies, whether political, religious, or technological, are being challenged and dismantled. This transition demands that individuals awaken to their inner authority, trust their intuition, seek higher knowledge, and realize that they are co-creators of the new reality.